It is a Tuesday night in November, about 9:45, and you're standing in the shower with the water already covering your ankles. You shift your feet and you feel it move around them like a little warm lake with no interest in going anywhere. You look down at that drain and you tell yourself the same thing you said last week. Tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will deal with it. And then tomorrow, you are brushing your teeth, and the water sits in the basin for a solid 40 seconds after you finish spinning slow, like it is thinking it over. Mi amigo, tonight I want you to do something different. Before you turn off the light, walk to your medicine cabinet, take out that brown bottle you use for cuts and scrapes, and pour it down every drain in your house. That is it. By the time you wake up, that slow drain is going to be a different animal. I am going to spend the next 20 minutes on exactly why that works, how much to pour, how long to wait, and what to do in the morning. And what to do when one night is not enough. Because sometimes it is not. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Ernesto Reyes. I am 54 years old, and I have been building and fixing houses for 30 years. Framing, tile, drywall, rot repair, kitchens, bathrooms, the whole thing. My father put a hammer in my hand when I was 11 and taught me every trick he knew. And half of what I tell you today came from him, not from a manual. Let me be clear about one thing right away, because I do not like anybody pretending to be something they are not. I am not a licensed plumber. I am a builder, maestro with a truck full of tools who has crawled under a few hundred sinks and learned what works and what wastes your Saturday. This works. But before I get you too excited, let me walk it back. This is not magic. I am not going to tell you a $2 bottle fixes any drain in any house. If something solid fell down there, peroxide will not touch it. If you have a hard plug of old kitchen grease, peroxide is not the answer. If you have tree roots in the main line out in the yard, do not pour anything down there expecting a miracle. What peroxide does, and does beautifully, is break down organic gunk, hair, soap scum, that dark slimy film that grows on the pipe wall like moss on a rock. And here is the good news, amigo. In a bathroom, that is almost always what is wrong. Not something exotic, not something expensive. Just hair and soap and slime, slowly closing that pipe like a hand making a fist. In a kitchen sink, it is food residue and grease doing the same thing. That is the enemy this stuff was born to fight. So let me explain what is actually happening in there, because when you understand it, you will use it better. The 3% hydrogen peroxide from the drugstore is what a chemist would call an oxidizer. Bueno, what does that mean in plain language? It means it is chemically hungry. When it touches organic material, it attacks the bonds holding that material together and takes it apart at the smallest level. That soft fizzing you hear a few seconds after you pour it in, that whispering sound down inside the pipe, that is not a decoration. That is the reaction happening. That is the peroxide finding the gunk and starting to eat it. Every second of that fizzing, the hair mat gets a little softer, the biofilm gets a little thinner, and the opening of your pipe gets a little wider. Now compare that to what sits on the hardware store shelf. You know, the bottles, thick plastic warning labels, a skull on the side. Most use lye or sulfuric acid, and they work by generating serious heat inside your plumbing. Mira, I have opened walls in houses from the 70s and 80s and seen what years of that does. Softened PVC joints, old cast iron, eaten thin from the inside. And here's what really bothers me. If your drain is fully blocked, that caustic liquid does not go anywhere. It sits in the pipe, a little pool of something that will burn your skin, waiting for you. Now, you cannot even snake it safely, and no plumber wants his hand in it either. Peroxide does none of that. No heat, no fumes that hurt you, no risk to your pipes, and completely fine for a septic system. About $1.50 a bottle instead of 8 or 10. Let me get you set up. You do not need much. You need a standard bottle of 3% hydrogen peroxide, the plain brown bottle from the drugstore. 3% only. Do not buy the stronger stuff they sell for bleach and hair, the 6% or higher. Stronger is not better here. It is just more risk to your hands and eyes for no extra benefit. A normal bottle is 16 ounces, 2 cups, the perfect amount for one treatment. You also want a kettle or big pot for heating water, a small squirt of regular dish soap, and an old towel you do not care about. And if you can get one, a zip tie drain tool, one of those little plastic hair hooks with barbs down the sides. Any hardware store has them for about $2, and mi amigo, that $2 piece of plastic is one of the best tools in my entire truck. I am not joking. Now the prep, and do not skip this part. First, get the standing water out of that sink or tub. If it is draining slowly, just be patient and let it empty. Poco a poco. If it is truly sitting still and going nowhere, take a cup or an old container and bail most of it into a bucket. You do not need it bone dry. You just do not want a pool of water sitting over that drain, because that water will water down your peroxide before it ever reaches the clog, and then you are treating the problem at half strength. Second, pull the stopper out. In a bathroom sink, that is the little chrome plug that goes up and down when you pull the rod behind the faucet. Most of them lift straight out, and some need a quarter turn counterclockwise first. In a tub, unscrew the strainer cover or pull the stopper assembly. Now look at what came up with it. Almost every time there's a wet gray clump of hair and soap wrapped around the bottom of that stopper like a bird nest. Peel that off, put it on your towel, and understand something. You may have just fixed 30% of your problem before you poured anything. I was working on a rental house a few years back, and the owner had already paid somebody to come look at a slow bathroom sink. I pulled the stopper, and there was a hair clump the size of a golf ball sitting on it. That was the whole job. Now the treatment itself, and it is beautifully simple. Pour the peroxide straight down the drain opening. For a bathroom sink, 1 cup is plenty, because those pipes are usually 1 1/4 inch. For a tub or shower, use the whole 2 cups, because those lines are 1 1/2 inch and collect far more hair. Pour slow and steady, right down the middle so it runs the pipe walls on the way instead of splashing. Within a few seconds, you should hear that soft fizzing somewhere below you. That is your confirmation. And now, the hardest part of the whole video. Walk away, leave it alone at least 45 minutes, and a full hour is better. I know it is tempting to run the tap after 10 minutes to see if it is working. Do not. The peroxide needs uninterrupted contact time, and every time you run water, you rinse away peroxide that was still working. Go make a coffee. Give it the hour. When the time is up, heat a full kettle of water. And let me be very specific, because this is where people make a mistake. You want that water very hot, but not at a full rolling boil. Around 180 degrees Fahrenheit is the sweet spot. If it comes to a boil, just let it stand 30 seconds or a minute before you pour. True boiling water at 212 degrees can stress PVC joints and glued fittings over time, especially in an older house. And I have seen a hairline weep at a joint that started exactly that way. Very hot water flushes just as well, with none of that risk. Pour it down slowly in a steady stream and let it chase all that loosened material through the pipe. And then watch the water go. When a drain that has been crawling for 2 months suddenly swallows a kettle of water in 3 seconds, that is a very satisfying thing to see. That is you fixing your own house. Now that is the 1 hour version. But the title of this video promised you something you do tonight, so let me give you the real payoff. Because this is my favorite way to do it, and it is the one I use in my own home. If your drain has been slow for weeks or months, 1 hour is not going to get all of it. So instead, you let time do the labor for you. Right before bed tonight, pour 1 to 2 cups of peroxide down that problem drain. Then go to sleep. 6, 7, 8 hours of uninterrupted contact. That long soak lets the peroxide work down through layer after layer of buildup instead of just softening the surface of it. In the morning, boil your kettle, let it settle a minute, and flush it through. For most slow drains, you will see a dramatic difference from one single night. If it is still a little sluggish, do it again tomorrow night. Some really packed drains need 2 or 3 nights in a row. And that is completely normal, not a sign you did it wrong. On the second and third night, add one more thing. Right after the peroxide, squirt in about a tablespoon of regular dish soap. The soap works as a lubricant. It helps the loosened material slide along the pipe wall instead of catching halfway down and reforming. It also cuts the greasy residue that binds hair and soap scum together into a mat. Peroxide to break it down, dish soap to move it along. That combination is remarkably effective, amigo, and it costs you nothing. Sometimes, though, a clog needs more persuasion. Maybe the drain improved, but it is still not running full speed. That is when you climb what I call the escalation ladder. You always start gentle, and you only get more aggressive if the drain makes you. Level 1 is what you already did, peroxide plus dish soap, and that handles most of what you will ever meet. Level 2 is when you bring in a physical tool. After the peroxide has softened everything, take that zip tie tool or plastic hair hook and feed it down into the drain. Those little barbs along the sides are made to grab hair. Push it down slowly, give it a twist, and draw it back up. You are going to be amazed and a little bit disgusted at what comes out of there. That gray rope of hair and slime is exactly what has been narrowing your pipe. And because the peroxide already loosened it, it comes out far easier than it would dry. Do that 2 or 3 times until the tool comes back clean. Then run 1 more hot water flush. Level 3 is the plunger. And there is a trick here that most people never learn. Almost every bathroom sink and tub has an overflow opening. On a sink, it is that little hole near the top of the basin. On a tub, it is behind the metal plate under the faucet. If you plunge without sealing that hole, all your pressure just blows straight out of it, and the clog never feels a thing. So take your wet rag and stuff it tight into that overflow. Hold it there with one hand, put the plunger flat over the drain. Make sure there is enough water in the basin to cover the rubber cup, and give it 5 or 6 firm strokes. Softened clog plus real suction clears most of what is left. Now I owe you some honesty, because I would rather you trust me than like me. Hydrogen peroxide is superb on organic clogs, and that is the big majority of bathroom drain trouble. But it is not the right tool for everything. If you have standing water that is not moving at all, not even a little, and you run the peroxide treatment and nothing changes whatsoever, you are almost certainly looking at a mechanical blockage, a hard grease plug, something solid that fell in, heavy mineral scale and a old line, roots in the main, out in the yard. Those are physical objects, not films, and chemistry will not dissolve them. What you need then is to pull the P-trap under the sink and clean it out by hand, or to run a drain auger, what most people call a snake, until you physically reach that blockage. If neither of those sounds like your Saturday, that is exactly the right moment to call a professional. I am telling you that now so you do not spend a weekend and 3 bottles of peroxide on a problem that was never going to answer to it. Think of peroxide as your finisher and your preventer. It dissolves the organic buildup that causes most slow drains, and it is the best maintenance habit in the house. But it is not a jackhammer, and pretending it is will only make you angry at me. Let me go through the 5 problems people actually run into. First, you pour it in and hear no fizzing at all. That means one of 2 things. Either your bottle is old and has lost its strength, which happens easily if it has been open in a warm bathroom cabinet for a year, or there is not much organic material down there and your clog is something else. Buy a fresh bottle and try once more. If a fresh bottle still gives you nothing, believe it, and start thinking mineral or mechanical. Second, the drain gets better and then slows down again within a week or 2. That tells you there is a bigger mass of hair deeper in the pipe, and one treatment only opened a channel through it. Go to the overnight method for 2 or 3 nights in a row and use the zip tie tool to physically pull out everything you can reach. Deeper clogs usually want both the chemistry and the hand. Third, there is a bad smell coming from the drain even after it flows fine. That is biofilm, the bacterial coating on the pipe walls. One treatment can clear the clog and still leave that film. Do a second treatment aimed at the smell instead of the flow. Pour it in and give it a full hour. Peroxide is a mild disinfectant, so it kills the bacteria, making that odor while it works. Fourth, the drain runs fine but gurgles while it empties. Gurgling usually means a partial blockage further down the line or a venting problem. Run one more peroxide treatment to rule out deeper organic buildup. If it still gurgles after that, somebody needs to check the vent stack on the roof or scope the line. And that one is not a peroxide job. Fifth, a tub drain that resists everything. Tubs collect enormous amounts of hair, especially in a house with long hair. And those crosshairs in the strainer catch it constantly until it packs into a dense mat. For a tub, flip the order. Go in with the zip tie tool first. Pull out as much physical hair as you can, and then pour the peroxide to dissolve what is still clinging to the walls. That 1-2, tool then chemistry clears even the worst tub drains I have met. Now the bonus I promised you, and this is the part that means you never have to watch a video like this again. Once a month, pour 1 cup of 3% peroxide down each drain in the house. Sink, tub, shower, kitchen. Do it before bed and let it sit overnight. That is the whole routine. You do not even need the hot water flush in the morning, though it does not hurt. That small monthly habit keeps biofilm from establishing, dissolves hair before it can gather into a mat, and keeps the inside of your pipes smooth. And if you want to be thorough, run the zip tie tool down each drain for 10 seconds before you pour. The entire house takes you under 5 minutes. Now think about the math. A plumber coming out to clear 1 drain runs $150 to $250 for the service call in most areas. A bottle of peroxide is $1.50. Even buying a fresh bottle every single month, that is $18 a year with your drains open all 12 months. And let me be fair, a good plumber earns every penny when the job is really a plumbing job. But there is a whole industry built on you not knowing that a $1.50 bottle handles the ordinary version of this. The bright bottles with warning labels, the emergency call at 180 an hour on a Sunday afternoon, all of it depends on you standing in that shower feeling helpless. You are not helpless, amigo. You have a medicine cabinet and 1 hour. I do this in my own house, and I cannot tell you the last time I had a slow drain. I had a client with cast iron lines from the 1940s, quoted a very large number for 2 slow bathrooms. We started the monthly routine instead, and 2 years later, those drains still run clean. My father used to say, a house does not break all at once. It breaks a little at a time while you are not watching, and the man who looks after it a little at a time never has to fix it all at once. So tonight, before you go to bed, pour it down every drain in the house. That is your homework. Come back and tell me what happened, because I read every single comment and answer as many as I can. Tell me which drain was worst and what came out on that zip tie tool. Next time, I am going to show you how to pull a P-trap and clean it out yourself without flooding your cabinet, which is the exact next step when peroxide alone did not finish the job, and it is easier than you think. If this helped you, hit subscribe so it finds you when you need it. Quite the amigo, and go take care of your house.